I'm your host, Mai, coming to you from Mining Jobs. And in our previous episode, we have the pleasure of discussing how to tap into the AI talent pool with two insightful guests from Mobile Interactive. And today we are shifting our focus to another crucial aspect of hiring in tech startups, optimizing hiring costs. In this period, we will explore strategy for efficient recruitment and cost savings. Joining us today is a very guest speaker, Ahmad Rashid, the head of people at Chillchat. Ahmad brings a wealth of experience in human resources within the tech industry. Welcome, Ahmad. It's my pleasure to have you on the show. So before we dive into today's topic, would you mind introducing with our audience about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on today. It's always cool to see that there's conversations happening about this industry and HR and hiring and some of the challenges that we face. A lot of these resources are really useful. I definitely listen to some and check out some myself. So it's cool that you're doing this. My name is Ahmed. I am the head of people here at Chillchat. We are building a game called Primordial. It's a top-down 2.5D MMORPG. I tell people often that the company is just a combination of a bunch of nerds who love gaming and love anime, and then together we're trying to create something really awesome and engaging for our consumers to enjoy and have fun. I've been in HR for quite a while, a few different industries. I used to work in oil and gas. We did like manpower, so mobilizing hundreds of people for different projects. And I've been in the tech space now for about 2 years. Honestly, mostly hiring. The biggest requirement at the moment is people, but we do quite a bit of things within the company with regards to HR. But yeah, it'd be cool to jump into some of the questions you have today.
Sounds great. Thanks for the brief intro, Ahmad. It's great to hear your experience. You have, how the missions you guys are bringing in the game industry, and especially your experience in Asia. As you've mentioned, you jumped into a lot of background, right? So just curious, how is hiring so far? Any challenges these days in matching the right talent, especially in recession like this?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of challenges that we face within hiring, especially in the current market. I can tell you, for example, for one of the positions that we were recently hiring for, we were looking for an Unreal Engine developer, which is like the number one wanted position in the market worldwide. If you look at development positions, not just in gaming, but because Unreal Engine is used for so many different things, there are a lot of companies that are looking for the same position, looking for talented people with experience in C++ and Unreal Engine. And then the question starts to arise as a startup, small one that doesn't have a product launched and is not necessarily out in the market like other companies, how do you attract talent? How do you attract great candidates? And how do you get them in your company and retain them and give them an opportunity to grow? And it's a very competitive market where we faced a lot of challenges. We obviously have our strategies that have worked quite well for us on how we kind of maneuver around those at the moment, but there are a lot of challenges. We're competing with huge companies, and not just huge companies, small startups as well. There's so many products, so many things out on the market. So a lot of challenges that we face in hiring at the moment.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, totally understand, Ahmad, because we have been working with a lot of partners at a tech startup as well. So we know the market is very fluctuating, a lot of competition within the tech industry, and not to compare it with the huge corporation, right? So compared to the benefit, etc. So the question again is how to what is the strategy to get the best talent out there? How to get them, how to maintain them, how to retain them, right? And as you have mentioned, the most challenging challenging things to do right now is to get the developers the most priority positions you have been doing. So how's things going on so far? How long have you been trying to get into this position? How does the process go? And how do you resolve that kind of challenge?
So we were hiring for this position since December of last year, and it's not just one position. We were looking for 5 new people. Now, one of the challenges that we face sometimes is as a startup, your requirements change. We have sometimes a clear understanding about how many people we want to hire, but as we start to develop more of the product, we realize sometimes that we may need to change our requirements. So we have now reached 5 additional candidates that we've hired over the past few months. And I found that one of the best ways for me to actually retain people's interest in the interview process, or initially in the first conversation, is to just be totally transparent. I'm 100% open with people, not just in my conversations with them, but in the job postings. I post the salary because I know that we are not competitive on the salary. I'm not going to be able to offer the same salary that people are getting in the US or Europe. So I put it out there. I know that there are some people who are looking for a specific range, and I don't want to waste those people's time. So I put it out there, and a lot of the times when I do get feedback, a lot of people are really appreciative that I am open with the salary, because it allows them to really understand whether this role from a financial perspective is a good fit for them. And that is something that I reiterate during the interview process. I let them know that if you are looking for financial compensation at the level of which they're offering in other areas in the world, that's not something that we are able to offer. It just gives a transparent view to the candidate, and they understand that we're open, and we're not hiding anything, and we really don't want to waste anybody's time. We are looking for talented people who are interested and passionate in what we're doing. We do our best. Obviously, we do market research to understand what are the rates that are in the market currently for these positions, so that we understand what is fair. So we do come in with rates that are fair for different regions, and obviously we hire internationally, so we do allow full remote working, which is a benefit that we give to all our team members. But that also brings in a challenge of you're hiring in so many different countries with different rates everywhere. So there's also the challenge of we had to be a little bit creative in thinking about how do we budget properly as well, so that we can ensure in different regions we're still remaining within our budget. I think another way that we attract candidates as well is to just be totally transparent about what our culture is like. Within the job description that I post, I make sure to include a section in the end to give people an idea about what kind of culture we have at the company. Culture for us is really important. It's actually probably the hardest thing to understand whether a candidate fits, but it's also one of the most important defining factors to the success of the candidate within the company. So we've structured our job descriptions in a way that are not only attractive and not formal, but don't just focus on what we are looking for from the candidate, but also give the candidate an idea about what they're going to get at the company, because it's a two-way road. So that's also really given us some great feedback from candidates about kind of how we do things. We have totally informalized our recruitment process. I have, been in this field for quite a while. I've seen some of the different applications. I don't want people submitting long applications online, having to write the information from their CVs, go through 5, 6 different interviews. We try to keep it very simple and fast and informal. So the way I actually ping people or online, or the way I put it in my job description, is I write that, if this seems interesting, then ping me on Discord. I put my Discord handle, and we set up a no pressure, casual introduction. And that is how the first interview is. It's not even an interview, it's more of a casual introduction in which I give information about the company, and I talk initially first to kind of break the ice and make it a comfortable environment for them to be more open to chat. And I just keep it a casual conversation. And honestly, it has worked phenomenally for us. We have gotten a lot of really great information from candidates because it's not like a suit and tie, very strict interview process in which they're very nervous about what they can or cannot say, but more just a conversation to get to know each other better. And people really appreciate the fact that we're open about our process, that it doesn't take long. Usually, the maximum amount of time we take to go from start to finish is 2 weeks. People just appreciate this kind of stuff. And I've hired some really great candidates who are insanely qualified and have told us like, yeah, we know you're not paying what I could get somewhere else, but the culture and the other benefits that I am getting here account for the reason why I'm happy to work here and why I continue to remain working with you guys. So I know I talked a little bit about that. I'm not sure if I answered your question well, but some of the things that we do.
Yeah, that's very exciting to hear, right? I totally I appreciate the background you have shared, and I agree with you, and I appreciate that you have mentioned so in early hiring process, transparency should be a priority. So instead of just giving a lot of conversation later on, you just put the clear notification if you want to go for this job. It is more than just salary. So if you're looking for huge or competitive benefit, probably not the right fit, right? So saving a lot of time for you, for the candidate as well. You guys have mentioned, just basically, I feel like finding candidate, it's like you find the same path, and you see the alignment between with each other. If the company mission is what you're looking for, if the the innovation and the achievement you will be doing there, what you're looking for, right? So it put it very, I like it that we put it very informal from the beginning, instead of just wearing a suit, going on and be very concerned about it. They have the inner taken out so that they can show who they are. Yep. Right. So
Absolutely.
that absolutely, just be themselves in the conversation instead, and you have gained huge success with that.
Yeah, we have some phenomenal team members, like some people that I'm still surprised and happy that they are part of the company. And that just goes to show that recruitment is not just about trying to offer the highest salary, because financial compensation is not the priority or the most important thing in a position for everyone in every company. Sometimes people do have other more important aspects that they look for. And if you can really understand from the candidate what kind of opportunity they're looking for, you're able to understand whether this is the right fit for them and be able to communicate that clearly so that they also understand that, like, wow, okay, this is a really good opportunity. Because recruitment, I think a lot of people don't understand, also, or not don't understand, but forget that recruitment is a lot of sales also. I have to sell people the company. I may find a great candidate who's a perfect fit and we want them, but we also have to convince them that this is the right opportunity for them. So from the first interaction, whether it's through Discord or by email or whatnot, I have to ensure that I'm creating a positive interaction for these candidates, because I'm representing the company and I'm showing them what kind of experience they're going to get within the company, so that by the time that we do get to the end and it's time to make the offer, I've given them a clear picture about why this is the right opportunity for them. If I'm not doing that from the start, then it makes my job a lot harder in the end to sell them on the fact that this is the right opportunity for them. And we can lose out on great candidates by forgetting that we sometimes we have to step in the sales role.
Yep, I love it. Totally agree. Recruitment is all about sales, so it's not offering someone high salary as you have mentioned, right? But instead, it's representing the company, showing the employer branding, showing what the company could offer, and you are the first contact, you are the first impression who could reflect that, and that gives you huge success in recruiting, right?
Right.
Yep. Totally cool to hear. I do think I have a few questions. Moving on to
Sure.
the part. I think we have mentioned the challenges in hiring, how you could resolve those challenges. I am just curious to learn more a little bit because right now I do think the game industry is widely recognized as the billion-dollar business, right? And it is often seen that the budget for tech talent is unlimited. Just curious, what are the differences in the hiring budget and practice between early stage startups like you guys are doing and the established giants in the industry?
Well, I can definitely tell you that our budget for talent is not unlimited. It is unlimited. It would be great if it was unlimited. But as an early stage game startup, a huge responsibility that we hold as management is to ensure that we have a healthy financial runway, giving our team members an opportunity to have a job for the next few years. That means that we have to be very conservative in how we spend our capital. We haven't released a product, we're not earning revenue, so we are still pre-production. That means that we can't just be spending money and paying crazy salaries or giving crazy benefits without understanding that it's not sustainable. So we spend very conservatively, and that's why I like to be transparent, because I know that we're not competitive, we're conservative, and this is why we're being conservative. I think a huge selling point that candidates find when I do speak to them is that even though the salary is conservative, this ensures that the opportunity is more long-term than short-term. A lot of people worry with early game startups, like, okay, you're working on a game. What if you release the game and you've run out of budget and you don't have any more money? What are you going to do? We spend conservatively to ensure that we're giving people an opportunity in our company to continue working with us, even if we still need to reiterate the product after. So we've budgeted right now to give our company about 4 years of healthy financial runway. That's including increasing the team, increasing salaries, increasing expenses. And by doing that, we offer people a long-term opportunity where they don't have to worry like, oh, what are we going to do if you go out of business? So there's a huge difference. And this is why a lot of the times I don't necessarily use the same tools that are used by some of the huge giants in the industry, because I know that people that are looking in this job website or this community, for example, are looking for this kind of opportunity. And those are generally not candidates that I can probably bring over to the startup side. But yeah, there are huge differences on the budget side. We are very strict and very conservative, but it works really well for us.
Yep. Got it. I got you, because that is what the strategy my company is doing as well. I love that. But I understand you guys have the financial, healthy budget for, let's say, 4 more years, 5 more years. But what is more important for candidates is if they are looking for the long-term purpose, yes, that is for them. But if they are looking for the short-term one, probably not. So it's all about their trade-off. Are they looking for the long-term solution here? And that's safe, right? Everyone is just the safe and the most, I could say, the backbone when looking for a new opportunity, right?
Mhm.
Yep, got it.
Yeah.
sometimes my fathers, they are very conservative about the budget as well, but we also think in our mind that we reduce the budget, we keep it very very feasible instead of burning
Mhm.
money, running out of money. What is like, where are we going for the next day, right?
Yeah,
Yep. So
exactly. Exactly.
yep. So Ahmad, we have shared with the audience about your strategy, the long-term strategy about hiring, having budget, and going with stable financial model. What is most important and more important besides generating, growing the company, generating sales, etc. And I'm curious to know, moving on to the next question, what strategies and methodologies can game companies utilize to accurately forecast and plan for hiring costs in a dynamic and competitive market?
Well, there are a few ways we generally strategize to ensure that we're forecasting properly for the year, or in general forecasting for the future. And I think a huge part of my job is to always be aware and understand what's happening in the market. What are the changes that are happening in the market? What's the current market rate for these positions and the roles? What are people get paying? And what are the changes that are happening within not only rate, but within the companies as well? As you know, the market has been pretty insane these past like 6 months with the amount of layoffs and the huge influx of people that are coming onto the market. Being aware of how the market is changing also gives us an understanding of whether we are budgeting properly or if we need to amend how we are forecasting our budget, or if all of a sudden we're able to reduce some expenses somewhere, maybe increase our budget in another place. Because even though we're not competitive on the salaries, we still need to understand what are the rates that other companies are paying and where they are in each region so that we can still offer something that's generally attractive to people. We also need to understand the trends in the gaming industry as well. There are a lot of gaming companies that are coming up. Like there's a new gaming company every week that's coming on. What kind of products are the new ones that are on the market? What are the most in demand positions, and are we going to need those positions in the future, and should we start looking for them now and start to build a backlog, a database? Should we fill it early if we know that it's going to be more difficult to fill down the line? These are all ways that we strategize to ensure that not only are we within our costs, but we're not also stuck later because we were not aware of how the market is moving. I think the most important aspect here as well for us is to have a clear understanding of what are the positions that we are going to need to be able to bring our product to market. If we have those positions, what is missing and what are the pending ones that we need to fill, and how we are going to fill those within the current market, and potentially by understanding what the market's going to look like in the next few months and knowing if we're not going to be able to do that, we need to do that now, or if we're still on track.
Yep, I got you. Got you. So it's all about updating with the market, seeing what you guys are still lack of and fulfill that position, making sure that you don't lack anything behind the market. While the budget is very conservative, making sure that it is on average, it is still the attractive one compared to the market range, right? So your staff could be happily working very hard, contributing to the growth of the product.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
great. Yep, that sounds great to balance everything. And hiring is challenging, but it's cool and getting to know a lot of people, trying to understand people as well.
Absolutely.
Yep. So I think we have mentioned about, the methodologies, hiring forecasts as well. I'm just curious to know, comparing, moving on to the next questions. I'm just curious to know how can tech startups leverage technology and automation to streamline the hiring processes and reduce the recruitment costs. And how does practice be applicable under your company?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part. How does that?
Yep. So I was asking, what is the leverage and automation you guys are doing in streamlining it, and how do you guys currently doing the technology and automation under hiring?
Honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, we don't necessarily use that many tools. I think because something I learned very early on when we were starting to really ramp up our hiring is that there are so many tools out there. And if you are not really understanding the value that you're getting out of some of these tools, your cost can increase quite quickly because you're using so many different ones. I think a lot of people generally don't recognize the real value that you get out of some of these tools. And if that value is right for the type of candidates you're looking for or the type of goal that you are trying to achieve. One thing we found is that by keeping our strategy simple for recruitment, by keeping our recruitment process simple and not having too much information and too much time, we're able to really just use a few tools without kind of cluttering the process and making it easy and kind of just confined to one area. So for example, I use Assembly AI. We do generally, I have interviews on a weekly basis with people, and Assembly AI makes it really easy for me to record, get meeting notes. It saves me a lot of time and having to share this information later, because if I'm taking notes, most of the time I have to kind of regroup them and make them clear for the other people that are going to be reading them, because I'm taking notes as people are writing and sometimes it's not very good. But Assembly AI is something that we found actually drives a lot of value because it saves me a lot of time. I don't really have to go back and reword notes or make sure. I can send a lot of these things over to my team so that they can have a look quickly and get clear information. I use LinkedIn a lot. Now, I use LinkedIn for a few different things. One, networking, obviously, engaging with communities in which I know my potential candidate is going to be there. There's so many groups on LinkedIn where I know that there's probably high potential for me to find out one candidate, so I engage in that group. But LinkedIn Recruiter is also a great tool that I don't think a lot of people really understand how to use it. I watch a few actually talks on some people who use LinkedIn Recruiter really well, and it not only helps us streamline and automate the process because of their template structure. I'm able to like filter through hundreds of candidates super quickly because of how they've structured their platform. But it also gives me a really great idea about the different kind of candidates in the areas that I'm looking at. And I only use it when I'm looking for specific positions. We have a lot of tools. I've actually built a board for us of all the different tools that are available. And we've started to understand which tools we use for different positions. There's a lot of free stuff online, which I think a lot of people miss out on. And we save a lot of money actually by me going to use a lot of these different, like engage in a lot of these communities. And for example, we just hired an artist off Instagram. His portfolio was on Instagram. It was great. It was free. I messaged him on Instagram. We jumped into an interview and it cost me $0 to have a chat with him, to find him and to get him into the company. The challenge is that you have to start to become creative. As soon as your budget is restricted and you know that you can't just use, like just pay for all these tools and use a lot of the cool stuff that's online right now, you have to start to be creative to think about, okay, if I can't pay $20 or $100 or $200 a month for this tool, well, how do I still find great candidates? And I think people miss out on a lot of free tools that they can use to reach out to some of these communities and engage with some potential candidates. But we generally don't use a lot. I have a bunch, but I pick and choose what we need to use.
Yep, exactly. Thanks for sharing. I do think I could tell you I am using the same method you're doing, right? So trying to keep this very simple, straightforward, as we are a lean team as well. Don't spend a lot of money on, let's say, the ATS, etc., but use a few for our daily activities, taking notes, making sure we are, it helps communication as well. It's really depends on different stage of the company where technology is being utilized, accordingly. Got it.
Right.
Yep. So I think right now we are running out of the time. Just my last question. I do think you have a lot of experience in running the startup from zero. Do you have any experiences for startup? Startup talent, HR people, any kind of recommendation, any kind of missions you want to spread it out? What is the things that you feel most proud about and you want to share?
We are a team of 27 people. On Monday, we're going to be 31 because I have a few people joining. But I could tell you that every single person that we have hired in this company so far is a great cultural fit and incredibly talented. And it was not easy for us to be able to kind of get to this point where we are finding great people. And I think when you are in a startup, it's oftentimes incredibly challenging and scary kind of to know that you don't necessarily have access to all the other tools and things that people use, and you haven't released a product that people are interacting with, so people are not generally interacting with your company all the time. And there are a lot of challenges that you face, and a huge part of attracting good people is for people to actually know about your company. But I think something that we have done a phenomenal job at since we've started is by creating a positive interaction with every single candidate that has come through the pipeline. I have a very strict philosophy on this. Every single candidate that reaches out, applies for a job, or sends a message gets a response. Nobody ever gets ghosted. I have never ghosted a single person that has ever reached out to us. And every single person that does a test gets feedback on their test. And every single person that doesn't make it in gets exact feedback as why they didn't. We were not able to hire them. Why didn't they make it? And we create a positive interaction with every single person that comes through this company. That is probably the thing that I would say I'm most proud of on our recruitment, besides having found some really great people. Recruitment can be a very difficult space, not just for us as recruiters, but for candidates. It's incredibly difficult to be in the space trying to find a job and apply for hundreds of jobs and never hear back. I think that is something that we generally can be better at. I know that we're not Apple receiving thousands of applications every hour, but the more that we can do to give candidates and at least an opportunity to know that somebody saw their application, acknowledged that they took the time to actually send this email or whatever, and that it's appreciated, goes a long way. One advice I would give would be, don't discount the usefulness of engaging in communities. We have hired people through Discord. I don't know how many different communities I'm a part of on Discord. My Discord is full, but the people that are passionate and really want to be in the space in which you're looking for them to be engaged in will be active in these communities. And if they start to recognize that you are somebody that is also active and engaging in these communities, when it is time and you do reach out, it gives you a better platform to engage with them and a better opportunity for you to find better candidates. It's not all about LinkedIn. It's not all about JobsDB or all the other paid job websites. Those are great tools if you use them properly, but there's a lot of free tools and different communities that you can engage in to get great candidates. And I think we forget about that sometimes.
Yep, that is very wonderful. I do like what you're doing, right? To keep the just to utilize social medias and to be responsive to get great impression on every single candidates, making sure that they have good impression about the company, because you as a first conversation touch point represent a company, right? So even though you don't find a good fit here and there, they will recommend someone else. They will go with it in the long term as well. So I do like it's sort about creating best impression. That sounds great, Ahmad. I think it's very, very insightful to hear what you have consolidated, what you have shared earlier. I do think it's also helpful not only for me as a startup personnel, but also a lot of startup founders, startup HR, startup talents who are trying to build the backbone of the team, trying to find the core team member, the foundation for the company. And I want to express a heartfelt thank you to you who has shared the experiences on optimizing hiring process for tech startup as well. I do think it's incredibly valuable. And as you have also wrap up the key takeaway, final thoughts as well. Any other things that you would love to share as a final thoughts?
Not really. I think we covered a lot of the stuff. I do generally think that this space is really cool to be a part of. I get to meet a lot of very cool and passionate people. It's really awesome to hear from people and to see their work and be a part of kind of their journey, whether they do make it or if their journey through this process is successful in another company. So it is I think a really cool space to be a part of. It's very difficult and challenging, and it can be tiring looking at CVs all day. But for anyone that is in this space, I do commend you. It is not an easy job, and I don't know for how many people are listening, but if anybody's listening and then you're looking for advice or you want to reach out, I love connecting with people. So you can share my LinkedIn or whatnot. I'd be happy to connect with people, or if they just want to say hi or whatnot, also happy to do that.
Sounds great. I do think people have a lot of great experience, and you will receive lots of LinkedIn connection, just connection from the audience today.
Awesome. Very cool.
Thanks for summarizing those points, Ahmad. I'm confident that the audience will find immense value in your thoughts. And once again, we appreciate your time and expertise, and we'll share the recording, streamlining it, and share it to you shortly. Thank you so much for your time, Ahmad.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Keep doing these because I think they're really cool, and wish you guys all the best.
Thanks. Look forward to more of this, Ahmad. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Awesome. Thank you. You too. Bye.